Hey guys, how's it going? My name is LongBarrel and welcome to the next installment of how to be a better CSGO player. Last time we talked about how to be a better pistol player, and what better way to follow up than to talk about rifling. This is how to be a better rifler. Rifling can be broken up into just two aspects, dependent and independent. In this case, the independent aspect is pure raw skill, whereas the other aspect relies on the combination of raw skill paired with the game sense, or as I like to call it, knowledge. In this video, we'll be talking about raw skill in rifling, whereas in the next video, we'll be talking about being a smarter rifler. When we talk about raw skill, it means exactly what you think it means. How well you're able to perform something based entirely on your ability to do so. For example, how well a basketball player can free throw, how well a hockey player can stick handle, how well a pitcher can throw a fastball. All these skills are within the player's natural talent. These skills are entirely dependent on them and only them. In CSGO, rifling is a really good representation of a player's raw skill, and if it's not continually being worked on and improved, there will be no development in the player's overall skill. In CSGO, it is especially important that the coordination between your movement and your aim is on point, as the complexity of the game's mechanic will make it really hard for you to execute simple tasks. Alright, now before we get into the aim, let's talk about movement. Movement is often neglected when it comes to rifling, but the truth is that your movement is just as important as the aim itself. Now think to yourself, how many aim duels have you lost because you simply could not keep up with your opponent's movement? If you can successfully avoid your opponent's crosshair, then you'll cut out most of your work. Strafing is a technique used by most players, and it is executed simply by moving side to side to make your character model harder to hit. In CSGO, a shot will only be 100% accurate if you're standing still, or you're in the process of switching directions within a split second. That's where strafing comes in. This technique is all about the timing of your shot with the reversal of your movement as you're moving side to side. We can move on to a more difficult movement technique known as sidestepping or jiggle peeking. This technique is performed by rapidly moving in and out of cover to get information or potentially get a kill. This method is great as it allows your character model to be revealed for a split second at a time, keeping the opponent guessing and you safe. So now that we've covered movement, let's finally get into the aim. There are three different ways to fire a rifle. You have the option to tap, burst, or spray. Tap firing is great because it's very easy to control and it allows for high accuracy shooting. The disadvantages of tap firing is that it requires a very high skill in aiming, as constant micro adjustments are necessary to achieve precision. Tap firing is best used in situations where only the head is visible, it's a long range engagement, the opponent is moving, you're low on ammo, you get the point. Bursting, on the other hand, is similar in the sense that it also allows for high accuracy shooting. Think of it as tapping but with insurance. Now bursting still requires precision, but it gives you a little bit more room for mistake as you're firing 4 to 5 bullets at a time. Now unlike tapping, bursting does make your gun jump due to recoil, so you would have to readjust your crosshair after every burst. This makes it way easier to screw up. Finally, let's talk about spraying. Each and every rifle has its own spray pattern. This pattern is a result of the recoil that the rifle produces. You compensate for the recoil by pulling down so that the bullets continue spraying straight instead of shooting right up. But it isn't all that simple. Spraying is by far the most popular way of shooting a rifle, but it doesn't mean everybody is doing it properly. In fact, the majority of people simply pull down and hope for the best. We call this spraying and praying. I'm going to teach you how not to be one of these people. Let's bring it all together. In the description, I have left a nice little treat for you guys. What you'll find is a map created by Oletical. This map is the ultimate recoil control builder which contains almost every single gun in CSGO. Once you have subscribed and downloaded the map, load it up by typing in console map space recoil_master. You can also load it by selecting offline with bots, then finding it under the workshop tab. Once you've loaded the map, you'll be greeted with a big shooting range along with controls on the sides. On the left wall, you'll find the selection of guns from which you'll be able to pick the rifle you'd like to use. Facing the target wall, you'll want to turn your attention to the controls on the right side. For now, make sure you have Ghost Hair and T-Target enabled. Since we're going to start with spray control, I would suggest picking the AK-47 as that's the gun most of the people have trouble with. Right above the target, you'll notice a spray animation for the AK-47. This is the inverted spray pattern of the gun. In other words, that's the pattern you'll be drawing with your crosshair in order to control the recoil. Familiarize yourself with it. On the T-Target, you'll notice a little green dot positioned right on his head. This dot is your Ghost Hair and will act as a guide to show you where to position your crosshair. Begin spraying the target, making sure to follow the position of your green dot with your crosshair until you empty your clip. Upon emptying your clip, the map will automatically show you the statistic of the run. What you want to focus on is how many bullets actually hit the target. You're looking for consistency. Keep practicing until you're constantly hitting your best scores. To get a better understanding of the spray pattern, you can enable bullet time. When pressing F, this option will slow down the time so you can better follow the movement of the ghost hair. Using the left side controls, you can change how slow you want the bullet time to be. I suggest starting with 10% and moving up all the way to 100%. Play around with it, see how you react to spray control, work towards a better score each time. If you turn your attention to the spray pattern animation above, you'll notice that you're shooting about 10 bullets until you're forced to pull to the left. Then after that, about 5 more before adjusting to the right. This means that you're firing off half of your clip before any major adjustments have to be made. And 9 times out of 10, if you haven't made the kill within your first 15 bullets, you're most likely gonna die. Now, doing what you did before, practice spraying at the target, but this time release 15 bullets and quickly readjust to spray the rest of the clip. If you practice this enough, next time you're forced to spray your opponent, instead of overcommitting to the whole spray, you'll skillfully readjust your aim to finish them off. Now that you're a spray master, it's time to add a little complexity into your training. You may turn on multi-target and practice spraying and target switching if that is what you need to work on. Enabling moving target is also not a bad idea, as spraying at a moving enemy can be challenging. I would also advise you to incorporate crouching into your spray, as the whole idea of crouch spraying seems really controversial in CSGO. I will talk more about it later in the video. Lastly, I want you to turn off ghost hair and practice your spray without the assistance. Use your muscle memory to assist you with the spray. Feel the gun. Be the gun. Now that we talked about spray control, let's move on to strafing and tapping. Reset the controls, disable ghost hair, and enable T-target. Begin by moving side to side and shooting in between each step. To get the best results, you want to control the timing of your shot. Like I said earlier, your shot will only be 100% accurate if you're standing still or you're in the process of changing direction. Focus on aiming at the head. Work towards getting a better score with each run. Keep going until you're consistent. Now it's time to add complexity to further develop your movement and timing. Using the right side controls, select moving target and continue what you were doing, but this time focus on not developing a pattern, as you want to stay unpredictable and hard to read. As you're moving, think about how much distance you're covering with each step. Remember that moving too fast is counterintuitive, as you won't be making much difference in your position. Switch up your pattern by constantly switching the speed of your steps. For example, take a longer step followed by a short sudden step in the opposite direction. You can try to add combinations such as taking 2 steps to the left followed by 3 left rights. To further complicate the process, let's add 2 more targets by selecting multi-target using the right hand controls. Practice switching target to target while continuously strafing. Don't just stay at a constant distance, move around the room so you're more comfortable shooting at different ranges. Once you feel that strafe tapping is no longer a problem, go ahead and incorporate burst fire. Using the same techniques, practice by shooting 2 to 3 bullets at a time. Play around with the controls to help further develop your skills. Great, you have solidified the base of moving and shooting. Now it's time to practice sidestepping. Reset the controls and once more disable ghost hair and enable T-target. Now go ahead and move to the door at the back of the room and simply begin moving in and out of cover while tapping or bursting at the target. Once again, you want to focus on how many bullets are actually hitting the target with each run. Focus on revealing as little of your body as possible, but at the same time, being able to visualize everything with each peek. I want you to spend as much time as possible on this map, repeat each routine a few times, and practice with all of the rifles you typically use in a competitive match. You'll know you're ready once you're doing this subconsciously without putting much thought into each action. The hard part is done. You've built the necessary skills required to skillfully shoot a rifle, but it doesn't mean you're fully ready yet. In fact, if you were to hop straight into a competitive match, most of you would perform worse than usual. This is because you have not put your newly formed skills into practice. Practice is the only way to ensure that these skills will stay with you for as long as you keep putting the time into improving them. I can't think of any better way to practice than to deathmatch. Nothing isolates pure aim better than DMing. Now, don't confuse it with Valve's integrated team deathmatch. What you're looking for is the community free-for-all deathmatch. To find one, simply click on Browse Community Servers, search for FFA, join a server with the lowest ping and a decent population. Once you're in, pick a rifle and a pistol and get ready to pop some dome. Practice first by specifically shooting one way at a time. For example, for your first 20 kills, only tap, your next 20 kills, only burst, your next 20, only spray. After that, you may begin to mix it up. Judge for yourself when is best time to use which mode. As you're practicing, don't worry about dying. Instead, focus on using the techniques you've learned in the Recoil Master Map. For example, be conscious of your movement, your spray pattern, target switching, etc. Now, I recommend keeping a mental note of which areas you're having trouble with, then going back to the Recoil Master Map and brushing up on them. There are also other great ways to practice. At the moment, I love warming up on a fast aim and reflex training map. This map is great as you're constantly turning and switching targets while bots run at you. Also, when I have time, I like to hop on the map training_aim_CSGO2 and just practice shooting simple red dots as a way of aim training. As always, I will leave both links to the maps in the description. I want to take this time to talk about crouch spraying. Crouch spraying is very controversial in CSGO as a lot of people seem to have complications when performing a crouch spray. If you think about it, the reason why crouch spraying seems easier is because your crosshair sits a lot lower than when you're standing up. This means that there's a higher chance for the bullets to connect with your opponent's chest instead of flying right above their head. Now, the reason why people might be having trouble with this is purely due to timing. Starting your spray before you crouch can be detrimental as many people simply don't know how to continue controlling their spray after they crouch. This can be fixed by crouching right before you're about to spray, as you're not suddenly dropping your aim mid-spray. Now, there's nothing wrong with performing either method, but if this is something you're having trouble with, next time you're executing a crouch spray, stay conscious of which action you're doing first, the spray or the crouch. Play around with it and see what works best for you. There isn't much else to it. You've learned the crucial raw skills of being a good rifler, and I hope now you know what it takes to maintain those skills. Perfection is achieved through hard work and repetition. Everything that you learned in this video should be done until it feels subconscious. Now, ideally, you want to spend about 30 minutes to an hour on practice each day. You can also spread your sessions out throughout the day to get more practice time. Realistically, you'd want to revisit the Recall and Master map once every 1 or 2 months in case you're starting to feel like your spray isn't what it used to be. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please stay tuned for my next tutorial where I'll be teaching you guys how to be a smarter CSGO player. Now, if you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like and share it so more people will benefit from it. If you do enjoy what you see, then don't hesitate to subscribe. I'm going to leave you guys with my favorite quote of all time, and I hope that all of you will be able to pull something out of it and incorporate it into not just CSGO, but your everyday life. My name has been LongBarrel, and peace out.
I said, empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.